They called her the Princess of Pop. The girl who could sell out stadiums with just a whisper of her name. But behind the flashing lights and screaming crowds, there was a darkness that few could imagine. This is the untold story of Britney Spears' emotional breakdown, the fall, the fight, and the freedom. She was just a teenager from Louisiana when her voice first echoed through the halls of a small recording studio. Bright-eyed, full of dreams, she had no idea that within a few years, her name would be known across the globe. The rise was meteoric. From sold-out tours to chart-topping hits, Britney wasn't just famous, she was a phenomenon. But fame is never free, it demands more than anyone should have to give. Behind closed doors, the pressure was crushing. Every move scripted, every flaw magnified. As millions adored her, Britney stared into her dressing room mirror, wondering who she had become. She couldn't step outside without a storm of flashing lights. Dozens of cameras, questions shouted, strangers chasing her every step. To the world, it was entertainment. To Britney, it was suffocating. One night, the weight became unbearable. Sitting alone on a city curb, drenched in rain and tears, Britney was no longer the superstar. She was just a broken soul, crying for help that never seemed to come. And then, the moment that defined an era. The night Britney shaved her head. The world called it madness. But to her, it was control, the one thing she could take back when everything else was stolen. Within hours, her pain became headlines. Breakdown. Crisis. Meltdown, screamed the covers. The press didn't see a woman suffering. They saw a spectacle to sell. But the chaos wasn't just outside. Inside her own family, battles erupted. Trust broke apart. Decisions about her life were being made, without her voice at the table. Then came the conservatorship. On paper, it was meant to protect her. In reality, it became a cage. A golden prison where even the simplest choices, like spending her own money, were out of reach. At night, she lay in silence, tears staining her pillow. She sang to millions but cried alone. Her silence wasn't peace, it was survival. But the world began to notice. Outside courtrooms, fans gathered with signs, "Free Britney." They shouted not for entertainment, but for justice. For her freedom. In court, her future was debated like a case study. Lawyers, judges, family, everyone had a say, except Britney herself. Until one day, she finally spoke. The world leaned in. Every network, every camera, every headline. But this time, Britney wasn't the victim. She was the fighter, demanding her story be heard. Even at the height of fame, loneliness was her shadow. Luxury hotel rooms, empty dinners, and silence where laughter should have been. Fame gave her everything, and took even more. On Instagram, cryptic messages appeared. Posts that looked playful but whispered of hidden struggles. Fans decoded every caption, convinced she was speaking between the lines. Then came her plea. A voice no longer hiding, no longer silent. For the first time in years, Britney told the world, she was not okay. And slowly, victories came. Courtrooms that once silenced her began to listen. Every step forward was a wound healing, a chain loosening. It wasn't just her fight. It was a movement. Strangers united, voices raised, all demanding one thing, her freedom. The world realized, fame shouldn't mean losing your humanity. And then, the chains broke. Britney was free. After 13 years, the woman once caged finally stood on her own again. She sat at a piano, fingers trembling over keys. The same girl who sang of love and innocence was now a woman of scars and survival. Every note, a piece of her soul returning. When her book came, the truth spilled onto the page. Every secret, every wound, every triumph. For the first time, Britney wrote her own story, and no one could silence her. Walking barefoot on the sand, she watched the sunrise. This wasn't the end of her pain, but the beginning of her healing. A life lived for herself, not for the world. Britney Spears is more than headlines. She is more than a breakdown. She is a reminder that even in the brightest lights, people can suffer in the darkest ways. And yet, they can rise. Stronger. Freer. Unstoppable. Britney Spears is not just a pop star. She is proof that no matter how dark life becomes, freedom and healing are always possible. If you were moved by her story, share this video, because the world should never forget.